Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Reagan Allen from Pacac. Welcome to the Virtual College Exploration for all Pennsylvania students, sponsored by the Pennsylvania Association for College Admission Counseling and StriveScan. Again, thank you for joining us. I do have a few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of the many different sessions happening during our virtual college exploration, so be sure to check out the full schedule at pacac.org, that is pacac.org. And this presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at the same website, pacac.org. And now I'd like to turn it over to our presenters.
All right. Hi, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And thank you to Pacac and StriveScan for hosting GrooveU information session. My name is Sarah Hudson, and I am the Director of Development here at GrooveU. And I also have with me today Maddie Slimak, who is our Senior Coordinator of Chaos, as well as a class of 2019 GrooveU alum. So we're so happy to have her with us today to talk about the student experience in addition to general information. So I am broadcasting today from GrooveU Studio A, and Maddie is over in Studio B. And we are located in Dublin, Ohio, which for those of you not familiar with the Columbus area, we're just 15 minutes northwest of Columbus, Ohio. So I'll go ahead and share my presentation quickly. Maybe. Okay. So yes, we are GrooveU and we are located in Dublin, Ohio. GrooveU offers a diploma in music industry entrepreneurship. We are a 2-year program, so very hands-on, 2 years of intensive hands-on training. And we offer areas of study in sort of all the behind-the-scenes music industry careers. So audio production, video production, live sound engineering, music business, interactive design, and we do have a track for the independent artist. We are a very unique program. So there's just one GrooveU. There's no GrooveU in New York or LA. We have a $1.6 million campus here in Dublin. It was actually previously a recording studio owned and operated by a world-renowned composer here in Ohio, and so we were very lucky to call this our home. But as I mentioned, we're a quality over quantity institution. So the average number of students in a class here at GrooveU is just 5. You know, as you can see, we have a lot of really expensive gear here that requires students to get lots of hands-on time, you know, working with this gear very closely with instructors. And if you have a class of 20, you know, students aren't going to be able to get that quality time and attention that they need. We also have a maximum student enrollment of 48 students. So you're never going to be competing with, you know, 200 students, 2,000 students, let alone 20,000 students. Again, we really focus on job placement here, and we don't want to admit more students than we can get quality internships, quality experiences, quality time in the studio, and most importantly, a job. We have a 2-to-1 student to teacher ratio and a 4-to-1 student to administrator ratio. So there is absolutely no being wallpaper here at GrooveU. And that's not the best case scenario for everybody. Some students, they like to be wallpaper. They like to go, you know, the idea of going to a big school and kind of blending in and just kind of going at their own pace. The relationship between students and teachers at GrooveU is much more coach-athlete than it is student-teacher. So we all go by first names here. All of our instructors have to have had at least 10 years experience in the music industry owning their own business. So they have to have hired people, have fired people, or been senior management at a small business. So all of our faculty are current working professionals in the industry in addition to their time here at GrooveU. In terms of our administration, the creative industries, typically students, they do suffer from, some more mental health issues. So we do have a third-party mental health counseling firm that does come in and do office hours for our students, so complimentary counseling. We have a student success liaison. Obviously, every student has an advisor that they meet with a minimum of 3 times a term. We do daily mental health check-ins with our students that we just started this spring due to COVID. So we're very involved in our students' lives, and we do push them very hard to make sure that they're doing their best. It's a competitive industry, and we want to train the whole music industry professional, not just train the student on the technical trades. Every student receives over $2,000 worth of a tech package. That is their laptop, their headphones, their microphone, their interface, their recording hardware and software, and that is theirs to keep when they graduate. Again, this just ensures that everybody has the tools that they need to do their homework at home, should they not be able to come to campus and use one of our spaces. And finally, we are a #1 positive disruptor in education. So our director has been recognized by industry partners such as South by Southwest, Music Industry Conference and Education Conference, Forbes Magazine, Bobby Ozinski, Mix Magazine, Billboard. He has been recognized for his unique leadership in higher education. And we are a different program where, we take a different approach. We work really closely with employers, and our employers locally dictate our curriculum. They're telling us what they're hiring for, what they're firing for, new trends that they see in the industry. And we, because we're so small, are able to implement that into our curriculum, almost immediately. So a great example is a few years ago on our video production advisory panel, we asked employers, what are you seeing that there's now a need for? And they told us that they needed drone pilots. So the next day we went out and we bought a drone, and we got our video instructor licensed to fly a drone, and we started implementing that into our curriculum within a week's time. So that's really how we design our curriculum and our course outcomes. All right, so as I mentioned, GrooveU is a quality over a quantity institution, and therefore, if you go on our website, our mission is 100% job placement among all of our graduates. We're very close, we're very proud that we have a 94% job placement in field within 6 months of graduation among our alumni. And that number is from the beginning of time. So all of our alumni that have graduated GrooveU, we do keep in touch with them on a monthly basis. And as you can see, a national average among other private schools nationally is 53%. And that is a job placement rate across all industries. Obviously, the music industry is extremely competitive, a little bit more difficult to get a job than if you are going to be an accountant or a teacher. So, we're very proud of that 94% and the fact that we are outperforming our peers. And then another caveat is that, some schools are not required to report their job placement. If you call up Berklee College of Music and you ask them for their job placement number, they're going to tell you that they just don't track that information. And that is because, unfortunately, a lot of schools, they don't want to know that information. So that is a picture of one of our alumni, Sky Young. He is not only the manager of a private lesson company called Fine Arts Matter, but he also goes on the road typically for about 8 months out of the year, doing stage and festival management. Obviously, he's pivoted his roles a little bit this year. He's doing some game design and audio for that as well. So that's sort of the beauty of our program, is that our alumni come out with the ability to do multiple skills within this industry. Nobody gets a job by doing just one thing, by being able to move just one fader. You kind of have to do a little bit of everything in this industry. And so when COVID hit, you know, a lot of our alumni were able to pivot and stay employed. All right, so this is where I'm going to hand it off to one of our alumni, Maddie Slimak, and she can talk a little bit about what it looks like to be at GrooveU.
Hi, I'm Maddie. I graduated last year, August of 2019. I specialized in music production. My time at GrooveU was intense. And also, like, I learned the most in those 2 years than I've ever learned before. And like Sarah was just saying about how everybody graduates kind of well-rounded, so they're able to go into different things after they graduate. That foundation is built in the first year. So coming in as a first year, whether you have quite a bit of experience or no experience at all, it doesn't matter. Everybody ends up getting to the same level. So the first year kind of just builds your foundation of knowledge within the music industry. You get an intro to studio recording and mixing. You get an intro to video production and video creation. You get an intro to the business side of music, primarily with learning how to market yourself and differentiate yourself from the hobbyists in the industry, because there are many. So year one builds the foundation of what you will then specialize and kind of narrow down and get into the nitty-gritty in the second year. So like for me, I came in with absolutely no experience. I came in as a musician. I'm a classically trained pianist and I was in a rock band. So I didn't have any real experience with like being behind the board. I was always on the stage or being recorded. So even though that's the case, I came in and I was able to catch on really quickly. And then I decided that I wanted to do the audio production specialization. But before that, over the summer in between the first and second year, I interned at a music studio here in Columbus called Orange-Udio. That was a lot of fun. It was like what I learned in school was now very real after doing it in the real world, like professionally with a professional. It all made that very real, having that internship, and it got me a lot of experience that would be valuable then in my second year, where I specialized in audio production. So the second year is no longer just the basics of everything. It's the nitty-gritty. My classes were all focused towards audio production and recording, and also furthering myself as an entrepreneur and differentiating myself from the hobbyists and building my own brand, just further like piecing that together to make it a solid thing by the time I graduate. So the second year, I got the in-depth experience recording bands as part of the class. Class assignments one day was to record bands that came in, which is a lot cooler than doing math, I think. That was one of the assignments. We also had a acoustics class where we learned how to design our own studio space, either from our bedrooms or buying or renting a office space and converting that into a recording studio or music business. And that was a really, really cool experience. We actually got to go over to Ohio State and make an acoustic treatment plan for their architecture building because it's super echoey. So we wanted to kind of figure out how to allow people to present and speak in that building without being and having the audience able to understand them, because at the time it was super echoey. So we went and planned it all out, we priced it all out, we wrote up a plan for it, and that was a really, really cool experience to see how to acoustically treat multiple different spaces of different types. And now I can go forward using that in my career of if I ever wanted to build a studio, I can confidently get started on that. And then the other important class, which I'll get to in a second, is the finale class. But real quick, I will talk about the 3 key components of the music industry, and that is it's relationship driven, apprenticeship based, and creatively engaged. So in order to be successful in this industry, you need to have a lot of relationships, you need connections, people to vouch for you, say, hey, this person does a really good job at recording bands or making really cool videos. If you have someone behind your back or multiple people behind your back, that's all the better. So the way that I made relationships at GrooveView was through my internship and through music industry conferences and just through the projects that we did. Like the instructors brought in bands, we found our own bands, like just making those connections within a city that I'm not originally from, as well as learning how to make those connections. I know for me, the thought of having to talk to someone in 2017 as a senior in high school would make me cry. So kind of getting over that fear and learning what to say, being confident in your abilities and therefore confident in going to talk to someone about your abilities is a big thing that I learned during my time at GrooveView. The second key component is that it's apprenticeship based. So both of my years here, I interned at Orange Studio, that studio in Columbus, because I liked it so much the first year that I really wanted to go back. And then having that apprenticeship experience is kind of like having those relationships. There's someone to vouch for you, maybe potentially give you a job or tell someone else that they should give you a job. And then lastly, it's creatively engaged. And when I was kind of talking about about the business classes, the business foundation in the first year, and then furthering your brand in your second year, creatively engaged is essentially how are you going to differentiate yourself from the hobbyists. So learning how to creatively engage employers and clients was another really big thing that I got out of my time here at GrooveView. And then, like I mentioned a little bit ago, another important class in the second year was finale. It's basically your end of the year capstone project that encapsulates all the specializations, everything that you've learned so far, and the Columbus community. So my 3 other classmates and I decided to make a project called The Seaside. And this is probably the project I'm most proud of. I really enjoyed doing this with my classmates. We're all super proud of it. So what we decided to do was create a video and audio series that highlights the camaraderie in Columbus. So we saw something unique, or there is something unique about the Columbus music scene, and that is that it's collaborative rather than competitive. Everybody wants to help everybody. Everybody wants to help everybody. So compared to your other big music cities, if someone can't take a gig, they're not going to just selfishly keep that a secret. They're going to say, hey, here's a ton of other bands that would love to have it. Everybody's going to support everybody. And I think that's really, really cool and a big reason why this project succeeded. So what we did was at the beginning of the second year, we started planning for this project. And then a couple months later, actually, I think it was this exact day when we reached out to our first band. It might have been a couple days from now, but I feel like it was October 6th. We reached out to our first round of bands, kind of introducing the project and saying, would you like to be on this in this series? And surprisingly, we got a lot of responses instantly, and most of them were no. But we did eventually gather 9 bands for this series, and it aired on YouTube from January 10th to April of 2019. And at the end, we put all of the songs onto a vinyl record. The unique thing about this vinyl record is that it too was printed in Columbus, Ohio. So everything about this project is local and further reinforcing the community's willingness to collaborate, which is really, really neat. And the way that we showcased their willingness to collaborate in the series was by having each band play a cover of another band's song in their own unique style. So we had rock bands covering funk bands and pop bands covering hip hop tracks. It was really, really neat to get to record all those bands, just the 4 of us, and then mix them and have it pressed onto vinyl locally at Musical Recording. When the series ended, like I said, we had it pressed onto vinyl, and then we had a big release party at the end of April at a local bar called Craft and Vinyl. So again, with the local being willing to collaborate thing, further highlighting the project, we hosted it at Craft and Vinyl, and one of the bands, Cousin Simple from the record, performed at the release party. And it was a really, really cool event. We talked about the project. Everybody was super supportive. We sold a bunch of records. It was cool to see it, all this hard work we did pay off and then accomplish the goal of the project, which was to show how the community is always willing to come together and then actually see the community come together to support the project. So that was a big growing moment for me and my classmates. We learned essentially how to build a project from the ground up with a $0 budget and get sponsors and support to pay for it. Printing records is really expensive, like really, really, really expensive. So to be able to make a profit at the end of the project was also really cool to see.
Awesome. Thank you, Maddie. Yes, I have to say I'm very proud of that group of students. They did raise a lot of money to put that project on, and that you can still buy that record here in Columbus, which is pretty cool. All right, so moving on to what does it cost to come to Groove U, and how do you pay for it? I know these are, definitely important questions that will factor into your decision. So our tuition and fees is what we like to call as transparent as possible. So you're looking at an annual tuition of about $32,000 annually. It does include your tech package, all your hardware and software, all your textbooks, an annual attendance at a music industry conference. Typically, we do attend South by Southwest Music Industry Conference in Austin, Texas. This year, we're figuring something out. Obviously, South by has been canceled in light of COVID, but traditionally students do attend a conference as well as 2 internships and your private lessons. If you attend a typical 4-year program, you can expect typically your X amount of dollars for your tuition costs. Then there's likely an activity fee, a health and wellness fee. When I was in college, I had a choir folder rental fee, which always bugged me. And then obviously you have expenses for books and materials as well. So we do try to combine all of that so students have a transparent number. Granted, I am not personally a wealthy enough person to think that $32,000 is an insignificant amount of money. I am very aware that is a serious investment of financial energy energy and time as well. But you're looking at a $64,000 investment for your 2-year full experience at Groove U. You know, again, considering that our program is 2 years, students are going to be in and out. They are going to hopefully be working very soon after that. According to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, an average starting salary for someone in the greater media arts field is about $45,000 to $50,000. The average cost of a public university in the US is about $28,000 annually. Multiply that by 4, and you're not counting room and board and books and materials, you're looking at a 4-year investment of about $120,000 versus at Groove U, about $64,000. So again, I don't you know, pretend that this is a small sum of money, but we do believe that it is the best value in education that you can get. Now, one thing we haven't talked about is room and board. We do not offer room and board, but we do have a housing assistance placement where students from out of state or out of the area, we will help pair them up with other students that are coming from out of the area, help them connect with possible roommates. And we do have a housing guide with some nearby local apartments that know our program, know our students, and do offer discounted rent. So, you know, we estimate that the average cost of living here in Columbus, Ohio, or specifically Dublin, Ohio, which is a little bit more expensive, is about $12,000 annually. So we do tell students to budget for that cost. You know, if you have a relative in Columbus that you can stay for free, then all the better. You're just not paying that $12,000 to us. So how do you pay for Groove U? So we do have an internal payment plan as well as an internal student loan financing program. We do not accept the FAFSA and Title IV funds, unfortunately. So the FAFSA did just open up. If you're one of those families that's familiar with that and you have other, you know, brothers or sisters or other kids in college and you filled that out, there's no need to fill that out for Groove U specifically. However, as I mentioned, we do have internal student loan opportunities available to our students. We also have some awesome grant and scholarship opportunities. So one in particular that is going on right now is that if you are a student that is already experimenting with audio production on your own in some way, shape, or form, using any software, any DAW, whether it be as simple as your iPhone or GarageBand or Audacity or Fruity Loops or free software, all the way to, you know, maybe you're already advanced at Pro Tools, we encourage you to participate in our high school audio production competition called iMix Matchup. That is going on now, and we are accepting registrations up until October 15th. So students will download some tracks, you'll mix them at home, and you have the opportunity to win not only some grant money, but some really cool mentorship and prizes as well. We do host the Ohio Audio Production Competition for Skills USA. We would love to expand to Pennsylvania as well, so maybe that'll be in our future. And then we have a high school battle of the bands called Instaband, and that is also coming up soon. That is open to students in the Midwest. Any students who write original music of any kind. So if you are a singer-songwriter, if you are a duo, doesn't matter if you are in a 5-piece metal band or you are just one person with a ukulele, as long as you write original music, you are eligible to participate in Instaband. So registration for that will open up in November, and that takes place sort of November through February, and students can win not only grant money, but also the opportunity to win an EP, music video, booking support as part of our student-run record label. So I do encourage you to check that out as well. All right, so what is next for the process? So We do, as I mentioned, we are a quality over quantity institution. So our admissions process is really focused on getting to know the student. And that means that they are more than pieces of paper, they are more than test scores. We want to know that music is a lifestyle choice for you, and that this is something you've been thinking about seriously for a long time. So we like to have engaged with students a minimum of 3 or 4 times before we grant an acceptance, and hopefully a couple of those times are in person when possible. I know this year is going to be a little bit of an outlier. So first, before we consider any applications, students must visit campus in person and attend a formal information session. So this is sort of like step 0. So you've got some basic information, and step 1 is to come actually visit campus and meet us in person and see our wonderful facility here. Then if you choose to apply, we do have a standard student application that we are accepting through November 15th. We also ask for high school transcripts and a professional letter of recommendation. We are a test optional school. We always have been. We do not find that ACT or SAT test scores are a good indicator of success for how our students will be successful at GrooveU. And then, but if you're, let's say you took it and you're an amazing test taker, you're more than welcome to submit that, and we would be happy to look at those. So we take applications up until November 15th. At that point, we do review them and we send invitations to our best pool of applicants to come in and do an in-person admission session. The admission session is pretty intensive. It's about 2 hours long, and it consists of an interview and an essay. Now, it's not an interrogation, it's just a conversation. But again, this is your opportunity to make sure that you are making the right investment of time, money, and energy in GrooveU, and we are finding the right student who's going to be successful here. And then hopefully we'll award an acceptance. I will warn you, we only do accept 12 students per class, and we can run a maximum of 2 sections. So we basically grant a maximum of 24 acceptances per year. After that, we are full. So our early application deadline is November 15th. If we are not full by that date, we will continue to accept applications until May 15th. We do have a 62% acceptance rate versus the national average of 2-year colleges at 77% and 4-year colleges at 65%. As I mentioned, because we're small, we just do have a little bit more competitive admission, but I wouldn't let that scare anybody. If music is really a lifestyle choice for you, chances are you are our student. Okay, so again, I just wanted to leave this up for a few minutes so that if you'd like to take a screenshot of our contact information, and obviously it sounds like I will be getting participant information, so I'll be more than happy to reach out and make sure that you have our contact information. But you know, we're very small here, so you know, please feel free to reach out with any questions at any time. And yeah, we really appreciate your time today, and happy to take any questions. Looks like I got a question real quick. Is GrooveU an associate's degree? And I apologize, I meant to clarify this earlier. No, GrooveU is not an associate's degree. It is a diploma. And the reason why is because if you are pursuing a traditional associate's degree track, you do have to take those liberal arts classes. So the math, the science, the English, typically a foreign language. GrooveU, you'll often see that we say is no noise, just music. And that is because all of our classes are core business, technical, music, and entrepreneurship classes. There are no general education classes here. So great question. What is the difference between Full Sail and Groove U? Another great question. I can't pretend that we can compete with the sunshine in Florida. You know, they have winter on us, that's for sure. But Full Sail has about 12,000 students. We have currently about 24 in a graduating class. So you're never going to be competing with 12,000 students for time, access to facilities, instructors, internships, or anything like that. You know, here in Columbus, Ohio, we have a wonderful music industry. We have lots of students that are employed, lots of people working in this industry, but we don't have a Sony Records. We don't have one employer that employs 2,000 people. So we will never, you know, admit more students to the program than we feel we can get them quality time and energy. Our tuition is more affordable than Full Sail. And again, we're looking to develop not just the train the technical. I mean, to be honest, you can learn the technical anywhere. You can go on YouTube and you can dedicate the next 2 years of your life to watching YouTube tutorials and, you know, get that close to the same information, but the information alone is not what makes or breaks people in this industry. As Maddie mentioned, this industry is all about the relationships, and so Groove U really seeks to help students cultivate those relationships by taking you to an industry conference, by giving you internships, by giving you private lessons, by doing these projects in the Columbus community. So we're really seeking to develop you as a creative professional and not just a one-trick pony. All right. Any other questions? Well, it looks like that's it. So I'd like to say thank you again to Maddie. And again, my name is Sarah Hudson, and thank you again to Pacac for having us.
Thank you so much, ladies. And participants, thank you for joining us. Just some reminders, when you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey, and we'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. Also, this was just one of many sessions being hosted, so be sure to sign up for additional Pacac sessions at pacac.org. In about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recording, as well as many of our other session recordings, again at pacac.org. And thank you again, Groove U, for this wonderful presentation.